Peter Stuyvesant was born, according to some sources, in Scherpenzeel, a town near the provincial border of Gelderland and Utrecht, and not far from the bustling city of Amsterdam in 1610. Other sources claim that his birthplace is identified as Perperga in Friesland, and that claim that may be correct because he apparently had attended the University of Franeker, located in northern Friesland. When Peter Stuyvesant was attending the universities in Franeker, he was studying philosophy and language. I was about to say Peter Stuyvesant when I meant to say Peter Stuyvesant. I apologize for what I just said. Prior to Peter Stuyvesant becoming Director General, which essentially means Governor of New Amsterdam, Stuyvesant had served as Director of the ABC Islands in the West Indies. The ABC Islands consisted of Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao. In both capacities, he was in the employ of the Dutch West India, otherwise known as the DWI Company, a large and influential Dutch trading company. There was little Dutch government activity in the management of DWI because the Dutch, during the period of 1568 to 1648, were actively fighting for their independence from the Spanish colonists, and the government was not in a position to also manage its own colonies. It had, in essence, outscored the activity to the DWI. During the directorship of the ABC Islands, Stuyvesant had lost his right leg in a skirmish with either the Portuguese or the Spanish. As a result, he spent the rest of his life on a peg leg. His disability, though, did not generate much mercy among his citizens, who called him Peg Leg Stuyvesant, which means he had a peg leg on, so he had a wooden leg. That would be frightening to me. I'd be deeply worried about myself. Stuyvesant was rather authoritarian with his subjects, and he is frequently depicted as despotic. He refused to share power with the citizens of the new colony of New Amsterdam. He also tried to control the Dutch Reformed Church, and even banned some of its ministers from the colony. When alcohol consumption became a problem in the colony, he tried to control it and regulate the sale of it. When other religion groups such as Jews, Lutherans, and Quakers tried to establish houses of worship, he decided to ban them, and he actually tortured a little Jewish kid, which is horrible. So back to the subject. In other words, he made no attempts to endear himself to the citizenry and to gain their support. The standoff between Stuyvesant and the citizens became so severe that the directors of the DWI in Amsterdam even became involved in it. They forced Stuyvesant to modify his strict rules and regulations. Later, the British Navy reached New Amsterdam in 1664. Stuyvesant's call to man the ramparts fell on deaf ears. The city surrendered to the British, who then proceeded to not only take over New Amsterdam, but all of the New Netherland, which included all of New York State and parts of New England and New Jersey, and the citizens were not very happy with him at this moment because they thought that he was a traitor to their country now. But in reality, he didn't do that much because they were not willing to fight for him. So it's not like he could just fight on his own, because he will probably for sure die to that incident.
He became Director General of New Amsterdam in 1647, and throughout his tenure he expanded the colony past modern-day Manhattan throughout New York State, larger than any other colony the Dutch had. While he was there, he continued to remain committed to the Dutch Reformed Church and outlawed any other religions such as Catholicism, Lutheranism, and Judaism. During his tenure, the population grew from 2,000 to 8,000 in just 17 years. He created trade routes that expanded the growth of his colony so he could trade with his home country and other colonies. He decided to outlaw alcohol and to disband all other religions besides the Dutch Church in order for his country to thrive. In 1644, the Dutch named Peter Stuyvesant the commander of the invasion on St. Martin, a Spanish colony which had once belonged to the Dutch. He attacked St. Martin with 8 ships and approximately 500 men, but the mission went wrong and lost hundreds. On his way out, a cannonball managed to ricochet and hit his leg, which had to be amputated. Later, after the 80 Years' War had finished between Spain and the Netherlands, Spain could no longer control the island and lost it to the Dutch.
Thanks for listening to our presentation, me and Jack's presentation, on ya boy, Peter Stuyvesant.